Okay, wonderful. So welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Ramona Ratiu. I am the program lead for SheLeadsTech with expertise. So before we dive into the exciting part of our session today, there are a few logistics to cover. One CPE is offered for today for this session. There is no tie to the polling questions. So your login will serve as proof that, and you are going to receive one CPE within a week from today. So if you have registered with the same email address that you are using for your ISACA membership account, then the one CPE will be automatically uploaded into your My ISACA account. If you have joined with a different email address, no worries at all. You are going to receive the one CPE certificate via email. This session is recorded and the link is going to be posted on our SheLeadsTech Chicago Engage platform. Any feedback you have, any suggestions, as always, please go ahead and feel free to send us an email, SheLeadsTech@chicago.isacachapter.org. Okay, so here's the plan for the next hour. You will be hearing from me for a little bit. I will give you just a high-level presentation on the SheLeadsTech with Expertise program. For most of you, it's just a reminder on what is our program about. And then we are honored to introduce our esteemed speaker and to hear from Danny Walker-Holmes. So please go ahead and use the chat and the Q&A for questions about the program in general. And of course, if you have any questions for our wonderful speaker today. And I cannot move forward without mentioning our wonderful group of volunteers who would participate in designing and supporting our SheLeadsTech program this year. So I want you all to give a round of virtual applause to Kyle, Lindsay, Raki, Jen, and Alex. And we are more than, we are always looking for volunteers. As you know, volunteers are at the heart of everything we do for ISACA in general and ISACA Chicago chapter. So if anyone is interested in volunteering, please go ahead, reach out to us. We always have something to do and we always need volunteers for SheLeadsTech and for other programs that we do have at the Chicago chapter level. So for the volunteers here, thank you everyone again. Thank you for all your contribution, for all your dedication and your support. Okay, so today's session is part of our expertise program under SheLeadsTech, which we launched back in June of 2021. So the program is aimed at supporting the SheLeadsTech Chicago community in expanding their knowledge in areas covered by the ISACA curriculum. Our SheLeadsTech community in Chicago, it is committed to support the global mission of promoting greater representation of women in leadership roles and technology workforce overall. Through our chapter programs, we are dedicated to advance the cause of women in tech and also nurturing the female leaders in our industry. And we do have three pillars that support our program. Expertise, for this pillar, we are aiming to bring women to talk about their career progression and about their knowledge and their expertise. For Inspiring Women pillar, we showcase historical and contemporary women who have made a significant contribution and whom we admire and respect. So this pillar, it is supported by interviews, by articles, and upcoming podcasts. The virtual retreat pillar, it is your opportunity to recharge, to revitalize and empower yourself. We have hosted sessions in the past on meditation, we had a yoga session, or we had a session on fashion, fashion on virtual meetings. We had a lady talking about the interior design tips and tricks. And last year in July, we have also hosted our first conference. It was virtual, and we featured doctor's perspective on self-care. So again, expertise, inspiring women, and virtual retreat are the three pillars supporting our SheLeadsTech with Expertise program. And I did include there a QR code if you guys are interested in joining our LinkedIn page. Okay, so with that, I am going to, I want to see if there are any questions, but otherwise I am going to pass the virtual mic to Rakesh, so she will introduce our wonderful speaker for today.
Hi, everyone. This is Raki. It's my privilege and honor to introduce to all of you my dearest colleague, Zani. During the planning meeting for this session, when Ramona asked us if you would like to recommend a speaker for this event, I was so excited to ask Zani if she was willing to come here and talk about her journey under the SheLeadsTech inspiration category. Zani has worked with innovative companies such as Google, IBM, and NASA as an engineer, research scientist, and technology leader. Currently, she's one of our leaders in the cyber defense, architecture, and engineering team here at American Family Insurance. At her core, she's a scientist, thought leader, and all-around nerd who has built her career out of being innovative, forward-thinking, and always being service-driven. She's an active community leader who likes to combine her knowledge, professional experience, and unwavering passion to help transform the world, encourage innovation, and revolutionize the future of computing. She's also worked as a researcher, and her research has led to specialized projects and have translated into scholastic publications, innovative projects in the government and public sector. I now request Zani to share her wonderful experiences with all of you. Welcome, Zani.
Welcome.
Honored to be here. I'm going to switch my screen over.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn off my video for just now, just because of broadband. I will be back afterwards, though. So, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedules to spend it with me and everybody else on this call. I'm Zani. Today, I hope to share with you a little bit about my journey in life, my career, and a few of my passions. If by the end of the presentation, I've inspired at least one person, I think I've succeeded. The evolution of life typically begins when we start to crawl. Go to the next screen if I can. Oh, there we go. I came from a pretty dynamic background. My father's from Brazil and my mom is from Trinidad. I was blessed to grow up with good music, great food, a lot of laughter, a whole bunch of love. I'm proud to be a family-oriented person. These are my heroes, the people that made me who I am. My grandparents, my mom, they taught me how to be a really hard worker and strive to cultivate my passions, whatever they might be, and to never forget where I came from, and to live fearlessly and go for the things that I have on my mind. This is my career in a nutshell. I've been able to be extremely blessed to work in academia, the private sector, public, and even governmental. I worked as an engineer, a researcher, an analyst, and at some points a data scientist, tackling complex problems and creating game-changing solutions. At this point, I have 4 research publications to my name. Much of my work surrounds using analytics, machine learning, quantitative data, and human-computer interaction to positively influence my surroundings and the community at large. My career progression into the domain of cybersecurity a couple of years back moved me from Florida, the sunny world of Florida, to Wisconsin, the land of cheese and snow. I moved into fintech from a math and more statistical background. But it was very rewarding and it pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I'm still in it to this day. I currently work as a level 5 lead engineer at American Family Insurance with incredibly brilliant folks. I'm a level 5 under cyber defense, architecture, and engineering. I've been able to drive design and lead architectural deep dives on products. I build MVPs and execution of rollout plans. I've served as a product owner and sometimes a scrum master, guiding the life cycle of the progression of projects. I've touched a number of domains, from data security to security metrics that go up to our board, and adversarial simulation via our tool sets, like, for example, IQ, and simulate, threat hunting, our SIM and SOAR capabilities, pen testing, purple team engagements. I've even done cloud-based data lake, which is centralization of our data. So those are a few things. Mouthful though. Outside of my professional career, I've been able to serve my community as a teacher. I've had the honor of teaching the fundamentals of physics, mostly condensed matter, computational sciences, and machine learning. In my opinion, life is science and science is life. I incorporate and encourage STEM in all of everything that I do for the most part. For the sake of the slides ahead, I'm going to give a brief introduction to the fundamental laws that apply to all things big and small in the universe. Newton's law. So one.
Hi, Sunny, sorry to interrupt you for 1 second. We received a couple of messages that, the sound is a little bit fuzzy, the audio is in and out. It seems like, when you're moving. So if you can fix that, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Should I get closer? Am I better? So what I was saying about that, fundamental laws. One, an object in motion at a constant speed will keep that pace in motion until an external force acts upon it, altering its trajectory. Two, when a force is applied to an object, the change in motion is proportional to the force divided by the mass of said object. And three, every force on an object by another object, such as the ground with a car, is matched by an equal and or opposing force on said object. We simply call this every action has a greater or reciprocal reaction. The art of flying. All right, so this is where I kind of began to run in my crawl, walk, run journey. I think, as you recall, the beginning of this slide, we're on flying now. Flying is like seeing the world in slow motion and having the ability to take it all in from the vantage point of a bird. I'm a private pilot. I've shadowed a number of aerospace mechanics. I've ventured into having hang gliding experiences. I've met an incredible amount of friends, I've called them friends, in and out of the armed forces. I've been able to navigate through a couple different planes. I've also been able to go to places I've only been able to see on TV. So I will, I'll touch upon something I think related to the foundational principle of aerodynamics here for a second. Bernoulli's principle, which basically contributes to the flight physics that centers around the discovery of decreasing the pressure of fluid as velocity increases. As a pilot, aeronautics serves as the guide point for every action I take. And traditionally, aerodynamics, it involves a combination of four forces: the lift, the weight, the drag, and the thrust. Without understanding this, peril is kind of the only option. So just letting you know that constantly science is a part of everything that I kind of pursue. Moving right along, I'm an avid scuba diver. I've explored caves. I've found lost relics such as old World War II guns. I've done tropical dives in there. I've done search and rescue with the police and fire department. the best part, I think, of scuba diving is to be the people, and also the suit. It's very flattering at times. Just joking. It's a global sport with a loving and dedicated community. I've met people from Australia to Egypt, to France, to UK. The pictures here are from Devil's Den, Rainbow River, Vortex Springs in Florida. I'll be going to Key West this summer with a group of new individuals doing their open water certification. And I'll be trying my hand at underwater photography. Wish me luck. Oh, I almost forgot. A lesson I recently learned of importance is buoyancy control. So that's the state of fluidity between floating and sinking while you're diving. I typically dive with a moderate set of gear. I keep a routine in place just in case, because of course diving is dangerous, like flying. I recently became one with the principle of gravitational force. This is basically when an object, in this case it's me, will sink when the downward pulling of the gravitational force is greater than the upward pushing of the buoyancy force. Divers can control their buoyancy by remembering that the weight of an object depends on the density of said object. If the density of the object, like I said, it's me, is less than the water it's submerged in, then the buoyancy force will be greater than the weight and the object will float. Understanding this is crucial to safety more than anything. Another thing to note is never going up faster than you need to. That could require you to have to go into what you call the chamber, which is to regulate your oxygen levels. My most recent adventure is sailing. I typically sail on Lake Lanier out in Georgia, but I've traveled to the Naval Academy, Minneapolis, and Virginia. We're kind of similarly in this retrospect area, but different as a sailor, of course. Mainly when you start talking about the force of the wind on the sails. Sails and keels, they work by providing lift from the fluid passing around them. Wind theory is basically the study of how to optimize the keel and the wind. The following effects, kind of the waves, the eddies, and the turbulences, they affect the way the boat navigates in the water. Sailing, I should say, sailing is like when you put on socks and you skid around a wood floor. It creates this drift, and the wind, when it hits you, it's very different than flying. It's a whole different sensation. But the boat is designed to lean with you and to reduce restriction and friction. So you get the optimization when you engage the hull, the keel, and the sails in the right way.
Zani, I think some people are still having audio issues. Maybe do you want to stay closer to the mic? The audio is coming in and out.
I'm not sure if I can get any closer. I'm pretty close. I'll do my best to be louder. My apologies. Well, I only have like 3 more slides anyway. Lastly, I enjoy going really, really fast in a circle over and over and over. I've been to Daytona. I've been to Indianapolis several times. I've driven the Atlanta Speedway in both stock cars and Indies. The fun thing about racing is Newton's third law. It's king. I think it's mostly king here. This law states that an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted on by an obstacle or an outside force. In this particular situation, the force exerted from my tires is there. It's so great that the ground that's pushing the car makes it accelerate forward, right? So mostly I've learned to lean into my turns and not be afraid of it, because I create a countermeasure that messes up my driving, of course. This is what we call drag racing. With every action, there's an equal reaction. So now we're done with running and we're starting to fly. The crawl, walk, run, fly, you can't just pass over another one without getting through the next phase. I've been blessed to be able to travel all around the world. These experiences have shown me that I will never stop being a student of this thing called life. I'm constantly trying new foods, meeting new people, learning new things, learning about myself. This is what makes living the ultimate adventure in my mind. So as you continue to fly, just remember, to whom much is given, much is expected. Serve as a mentor, dare to be a leader, speak at the conference. What could possibly go wrong? Share your journey. You never know who you're going to inspire to take that leap and start to fly too. This is the last Grace Hopper that I went to. I was able to attend it 2022. And I captured a couple moments in real time. So I think it's important to be the change you wish to see in the universe. You may not know where you're going right now, but trust the process and stay true to yourself. And remember that your quote unquote bad day or your worst day could be somebody else's dream. So let's try to seize that opportunity and learn something from it, even if it is bad in your mind. You might look back on it and be like, whoa, I'm really glad that happened. All right, I'm done talking.
Thank you, Zani, for sharing your experiences. If you were to turn your video on, I think we could take some questions from the participants.
Do you see how close I am? I just wanted you to see that. I'm trying.
No problem. Yeah, I think if you have any questions, you can put that in the comments or you can put that in the Q&A section. Yeah. I think Cassandra asked Zani, how did you overcome the doubters and how did you fund your trips?
Doubters. I think everybody comes into your life to teach you something. You may not be ready to receive that lesson yet. And you may go around the mountain again and again until you learn it. But for the most part, I've realized that most people will quote unquote doubt you because you have something that they don't have and they can't fathom how you're possibly able to do all this stuff. I get so many people, they're like, do you even have a job? Like, how do you do all this stuff and work full time and do? It's not hard if you love what you do. You're going to make time for it. So.
And how did you fund your trips?
How do I fund my trips? Well, hopefully I'll get a raise soon. I don't know. No. I save. I have really good time management. I try to put money away for good gear. That's a huge thing. You kind of get what you pay for, especially in scuba. I've learned if you go ahead and buy expert gear, then you don't have to do it all over again in the next 10 years. So saves me a lot of money.
Belinda asks, hi Zani, what is your next planned adventure?
Well, I'm really enjoying being an aunt. I think that I want to figure out how my nieces are, they're young. So I want to learn how to be better at that and with kitten gloves. start teaching them how to fly. So.
Awesome. I think Alex has written that I loved how you maintain the mind of a student. It's so important in order to keep growing. I think there's one more question that I see. How do you translate your adventures into your professional life?
So with every adventure, there's going to be a, I think it's called the hero arc. So with the positive comes the negative, and there's a trough, right? You have to go through, if you play video games, you got to go through the bad parts in order to get to the end boss, right? So for me, in my current job, I have so many different domains I have to switch from as a tech lead that I constantly have to work on my interpersonal skills. I have to work on my presentation skills. I have to understand what's going on in and out of my field and how it affects my particular domain. I've also learned we're not directly customer facing, but everything that we do affects an end user, whether that be somebody inside of the company that I work for or externally. And so I have to learn the empathy of everything that I do will affect somebody, and how does it change their life and experience. So that's been an adventure in itself.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I think the next question that I see is, I think, how did you feel when you were flying for the first time?
I was terrified. Okay, so my stomach, it goes like this. Like, I don't know if anybody like has roller coasters or, but I'm one of those people that as soon as I get up into the air and we're in a stable plane, then I feel a whole lot better. But ascension is not my friend. Like, it sucks. But yeah, no, I remember when I went over where did I think I might have gone over Lake Lanier, and I did that by myself for the first time, and I had this sense of just no words and being in awe and just being like, I actually am flying this thing by myself. This is amazing.
Yeah. Sometimes you're scared until it's done, but until that time, you're scared about it.
Yeah, but then after a while, you look back and you're like, why was I so afraid? Like, I think I was holding myself back on a few things, not the flying, but, you know, I think we do that subconsciously. I know I do that because I'm my biggest critic and I have to battle perfectionism. So.
I think the next question is, do you have any plans to get on SpaceX?
If they'll have me, you know, they have so many applicants. I don't think I hold a candle to some of the options they have. So who knows?
Danny, a quick question here on mentoring piece. Would you be able to expand a little bit about like your experience with having a mentor and also being a mentor for students or other females in the field, or anyone else, as a matter of fact?
Yeah, so I think my first mentor was my mom. She taught me what it meant to be a good person and a good woman. And from there, I think that when I started to get into technology, I noticed that there were people doing what I wanted to do. And so I just put an introductory call out there, and I'd say, hey, I'm Zani, you know, I'm XYZ in high school, XYZ in college. Do you have 5 minutes? Can I just pick your brain on what you do all day? And I think from there, I figured out what I didn't want to do, and I figured out what I really vibed with. I made some really good connections along the way. From a mentor perspective, I started really young. So I got the chance to mentor in college. I was part of LSAM. So it's a diversity program to try to bridge the gap between minority students and the PhD pipeline. So they give you funding, they take you to conferences, they teach you how to dress, how to speak, how to present your work. So I was able to mentor high school students that were interested in going into space, technology, engineering, mathematics. And at in my last role, I was able to do, I think it's EMF, or I forgot exactly what it was called, but somebody kind of passed the torch to me, and I got to do the mentor-mentee program with that. So.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. We do have a mentorship program. It's called Grow at the Chicago level. So I will be reaching out to you, or somebody else from the Chicago chapter will be reaching out to you, as you have so much experience. Or maybe you would like to join and support our community, expanded community as well as a mentor. Okay. Any other question? I see another question, Raki. You want to go for it?
Yes. Yeah. Sandy asked, what parallel have you found between these adventures and taking calculated risks for career advancement?
Well, I think the most recent conversation that we had, Rocky, is upward mobility is not always the only option. So my colleague Rocky and I were both at the same level, and the next level from here is either principal or director. And there is a certain sense of contentment, or the need to perfect where you currently are and get really good at that so that you can be the person that you eventually are going to be at the highest level, right? So for me, I think I'm really honing in on my craft. Cybersecurity is it's so dynamic. It changes almost every day. And there's constantly threats, and there's constantly people trying to phish and spoof and ransomware and malware. So a lot of adventures in terms of counteracting and not being so reactive to threats, and learning how to constantly build tactics to be proactive.
Awesome. I think the next question that I see has been, what has been your most favorite adventure of all?
My most favorite adventure? I don't think it's happened yet.
But yeah.
Maybe. I don't think, yeah. I got a lot of time, hopefully. So.
Awesome. I think when you get that, let us know.
I'll keep you posted.
Okay, I'm just looking at questions. Ramona, are you seeing any other questions?
I was just checking the chat here. A lot of supporters here for you, Zani. Yay! And your session was very well received, and very inspiring to see that women are actually doing more things that are not so common, right? I would say, I dare to say this here. The most adventurous thing that I ever done, I was on an airplane and I did skydiving. That was once, and that I can say was before my kids, definitely before my kids. If you ask me to do it now, I will look at the risk in a different way. But definitely super impressed to see all your adventures, and please keep in touch with us and let us know what's next. I see somebody was mentioning that you have like a bucket list of things on LinkedIn that you're sharing. I need to look for that and see, what's going on in your world and to follow you there as well.
It was my honor to spend time with you all today. I had the privilege of Rocky reaching out to me, and like I said, she kept on me and she kept pinging me, and she was like, "Where's your bio? Where's your picture?" Da, da, da. And she's trying to make sure I didn't chicken out, but I wouldn't have missed this for anything in the world. I think that this is the reason why I'm in tech, and it's a way that you keep people in technology. It's conversations like this and programs like this. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Prashant
Yeah.
has said fantastic job, Zani. So
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so with that, if there are no other questions for Zani, I would like to close the session, but I want to mention, the upcoming events for our SheLeadsTech community. We do have an event that is scheduled on May 5th. It's our next event. It's a virtual retreat event focused on health and wellness. It's a health and wellness session. I think it is a balance between self-care and work and other things going on in our lives after pandemic. But you're going to learn more about it. We're going to send the invite out soon. So, please save the date. We do have our first in-person conference, one-day conference. It's on June 1st. It is in downtown Chicago. We are still in the works of signing the contract with this place. Yeah, you're gonna find out more. I was about to disclose, but I don't think it's just right at the moment. We're gonna have a one-day event featuring amazing women within the Chicagoland area. So please save the date. We'll send an invite out in the next 2 weeks or so. Okay. Do you guys have any questions about the program or anything that we discussed today? If not, again, Zani, it was wonderful having you here. We are very grateful that you took the time to share your experience and your adventurous life with us, right? I think many of us are like thinking, okay, I need to change something. I need to do something. I definitely am like thinking of what do I do next, right? Okay, so thank you again. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a wonderful weekend.
thank you.